Wow, guys, this brings it all back. Like, this is where I grew up at. This is my great-grandmother's house, Ruby Lee Arns, humility in the flesh. Like, literally. If I could go through the stories and stuff, sorry. This house is so special to me. Being in this house, like, literally changed my life. If it wasn't for this house, I don't even think that I would have been able to survive a lot of things that I've been through. My grandma taught me how to overcome when people do the worst things to you. And humility is all about being humble inside and showing up when you don't want to really show up. And throughout all this, you know, I had to recognize that I'm not perfect and it's okay. And I had to understand that those things come with lessons and important lessons and valuable teachings that only made me the best that I could be. And being able to show humility was me able to accept that I mess up and I'm human. And Ruby taught me that. And Ruby would experience people in another light, and I never really understood it until I got older, like how she put up with all this crap from people, and she was so humble at times, and then she was in her flesh at times, which would be quite the funny thing. But this chapter of humility is all about showing yourself that it's okay that you're not perfect, that it's okay to own up to that you make mistakes. And when you're able to do that, you're able to better yourself. You're able to be the best you possible, because nobody can tell you that you're perfect. Like, it's literally, you get to be you. And having humility just wraps that all in that. Living in this house couldn't have done anything bad for me, because even though you go through bad things, it always showed me good things out of it, and it was always good fruit coming out of it. So when you're humble and you practice humility, you have to be mindful, and practicing mindfulness is not easy. It literally is a task, but when you practice mindfulness, you're being mindful of the things that are in the present. Like right now, I can just hear birds, and I can hear the beautiful sound of just earth. That's me being mindful in the moment. Sometimes we get in situations where we only want to focus on the problem, and we have a hard time figuring out and looking at what is in our space that we can be grateful for. The other thing is listening to others. Living in this house, I had no choice but to listen to Ruby. Like, it was either that or you can get out, because she said, you ain't gonna piss on me and call it rainwater. So you literally have to understand that I had to take in and listen to others. And listening to others is great, because you get to get the perception of things that you don't know. And so making sure that you're listening to others and getting advice to get an alternate look at what you think life is supposed to look like. Also, servicing others. When you have humility, you have no problem helping out others and giving and lending a helping hand. Like, I love to help people. I used to hate living here because you had to do dishes all the time, because she always had company that wasn't invited. Like, literally, like, you're like, why are you over here? But it was because they felt so at home and their spirits were healed here. And so I had to get used to serving others when I did not feel like it. But now it's so into me and sewn into me, and it's so deeply rooted in my heart and in my soil, that servicing others is one of my favorite things to do. Is that I love to give, and I love to be of service to others and not expecting anything back. So in the chapter, you get to hear a story about me and another relative of not getting along for 12 years. 12 years I allowed to go by because I just had a hard time admitting I was wrong. And to be honest with you, as you read in the chapter, I didn't necessarily know what I was being wrong about, but I also knew that I wasn't being right. So admitting when you're wrong is huge, because it's okay that you mess up. That's what having humility is all about. Living here with Ruby, it was like she didn't care if you were wrong as long as you understood why you were wrong and that you weren't going to do it the next time. And I think that's all that is important about making sure and acknowledging when you say that you're wrong. And it's okay. So having God order your thinking. When having humility, you have to make sure that you ask the Holy Spirit or whoever talks to you inside, whoever you speak to, is this something that you need me to do? And a lot of times he will correct you and he'll say, you're right, you're wrong. And it's okay. But having God order your thinking is such an easy task, because then you don't have to do it yourself. You may not feel like doing it, but being told that it's the right thing to do and knowing that it's the right thing to do, it makes it easier for you to make that step. So definitely have humility.